Om Shanti and a very good morning to everyone, to all the divine souls who've joined in to the first masterclass on the first Sunday of this month. And yes, today we are talking about looking at Baba's learnings about moving from tensions to attention. Before we start, I want to share a small story. Uh, this was last week when I was in the apartment where I was staying, and there were some children who were playing, and there was one child who was very frantic, and he was pretty unsettled. And while playing, and I asked him, I said, "Why are you playing like this?" And he's telling me there is a lot of tension. I said, "What tension do you have?" He must be about 10, 11 years old. And he said, "I've got tension." I said, "What tension do you have?" And he says, "I want to win. And in the last two games, I have lost. So I want to win." And I was musing, I was thinking that how the word tension has come in his vocabulary. That poor boy mustn't be even knowing what he's not even seen as much of life. And he's talking about tension. So, yeah, we look at the condition that is around where we have made tension as such a critical, important part of our lives, as an inseparable part of our lives. And nowadays, especially with the grown ups and the adults, the word tension is passe. They wouldn't be using the word tension. Now, many of them replace the word, most of them replace the word with stress. And you see everyone around is stressed. And even that, to some extent, is now becoming outdated. And now people are looking at even more updated term, and the term is depression. So where it starts from tension, moving on to stress, and then to depression. And it's become so common in our day-to-day lives, in our vocabulary. And earlier it used to be seen with a deeper light of concern. But now every second or the third person is talking about depression as normally as people would get fever and say, "I've got flu." So I was reflecting while thinking about today. One thought came to my mind, and that was, were we ever built up to take tension? Was our life ever oriented around thinking about tension? As children, as infants, all that we knew was to play, eat, drink, play, sleep, everything else was taken care of. And as we grew, the pressure of performance, of good behavior, of good academics, of good sanskaras, everything started, the norms started shaping us. And more than norms, it was more of a consensus, an agreement that started getting built up around. And that is the world that we arrived in. And along with that came performance pressure. Along with performance pressure came the need to win, the need to prove, the need to stand up, the need to stand out. And the way we approached that in the default manner was by taking tension or stress or anxiety. And before we knew it, we didn't take it, it took us away from the natural self that we are. I was reading some content and a very interesting perspective came up is that we keep our state of mind responsible for how the things around us are shaping up, whether it comes to the living conditions, whether it comes to relationships, whether it comes to our health and well being, everything outside us started shaping us to become who we became or who we have become right now. Thanks to this world of spirituality that we all are engaged in or are a part of, to the extent we are open and aware, to that extent, we are able to take care of it. But yet, to quite an extent, there is a possibility of us going back to our default, and that is to be stressed, to be worried. Ever see people when they talk and they say, today I am very happy, as if happiness is a rare phenomenon. People even worry if they're happy for a longer time. They think too much of happiness is not good. If they are happy for a consistent period of time, they start thinking, there is something wrong with me. How can I be happy? Even people around will come and say, what's the matter? You look so happy, as if you're not supposed to be. Or they come and ask, what is it that you're doing that you're so happy? Like, what is making you so happy? And along with that comes a superstition that if I don't have tension and if I'm happy for a longer period of time, means something bad is going to happen soon. This is the way we got wired. So, a couple of things I noticed when I was reading something is that there's an opposite equation that actually governs us, where we put our happiness, our peace, our joy, our fulfillment, our content, everything outside of us. We say, if life is perfect, mine will be perfect. Not the other way around. Not saying that if my mind will be perfect, life will be perfect. We say, if body is perfect, then the mind will be happy. Not that if the mind will be happy, then I'll have an access to have work on my body, on my well being, on my relationships, my finance, my duties, everything. So, if I talk about three conditions that do people around us always speak in the language that we want to hear? Second, do people around us always behave the way we want them to behave? And the third is, do things around us always show up the way we want them to show up? None of these conditions are going to be consistent. All these conditions are going to show up ongoingly as we conduct and live a life. And that's life, especially with the depletion of the sanskaras because of the tamoguni situation around. The kalas becoming close to zero, where we started from Sola Kala, 16 colors, to 12, to 8, to coming down to close to zero, especially in the last 20, 30 years. Our surrounding has become that of people who have become self centered, opportunists, and that's the pollution amidst which we are living our life. Look at how life was 30, 40 years ago. Life was before the presence of that much of science, and especially in the last 20 years, the presence of the smart gadgets and the access to the internet, how drastically the quality of life has changed, how we have been taken over, and we've actually forgotten who we are, what we can do, and we've literally lost ourselves. We've lost the purpose of our life. Science has progressed in the last 100 years, and it's progressing at a very fast pace in the recent times. But look at medicine, so much of innovation in the field of medicine. Earlier, there weren't too many options. But then too, people were living a good long life. Like 80, 90 was considered to be normal. And they never used to have, as far as I remember, they never used to have problems or issues like diabetes or even heart ailments or cancer for that matter to that extent, to name a few. Now, the medicines and the treatments are far better. But then too, the quality of life and the span of life both have gone down. Now 60 has become the new 90, and that too full of ailments. We don't realize that much of it is psychosomatic. It's something that we are awarding ourselves with. If you take a step back and ask yourself, bit of a reflection onto how we have conducted life in the last few years or a couple of decades, you will get to see how much unwanted stuff we have accumulated in the name of necessities or wants, but actually they were greeds. They were different type of greeds. Earlier, one family used to have one car. Now there is one car for each adult. Small houses and big families. That's the upbringing in which I have come up with 16 people staying together. To this time, where the families have become nuclear, houses have become bigger, but they're no longer homes. Earlier, we used to welcome guests. It was a privilege. Now, it has become a social status. Now, the gatherings have all become about clicking selfies and posting onto the social media. Life has become all about seeking approval from outside. And the state of happiness is going to be dependent on the quality and quantity of approval, validation that we get from outside of us. This is how we build up tension. The trend which is there now, where when people gather together, they come together, it's all about clicking selfies, posting, and then the next stress is to see how many people have liked it, how many people have commented. Someone goes to an occasion, consider there is a marriage or there is a party or there is a social gathering, they dress up and go and they want to be noticed. Not only noticed, they also want to be commented, and that also in an appreciable manner. And if someone doesn't appreciate, it is said, oh, they don't have a good taste. So people have stopped doing things for themselves, and it's all become about seeking approval, seeking validation, proving. We've lost ourselves. How come? With so many amenities, so many facilities, the standard of living has become better, but the quality of life has gone down. How many of us go to sleep and don't even get sleep? How many of us are firefighting during the day? And forget about the day, even in the night, the constant thoughts that are going on. Life has become too mechanical. And it's not a blame, but it's like there is pollution around us. And because our immunity is low, is how we have been impacted. Can we stop the pollution? Maybe up to a certain extent. How can we stop it? Maybe change the social circle that we have around us. Maybe change our priorities. Orient yourself around what is it that I want for myself, not defining who I am on the basis of others talk about me. Through my journey of moving on to that world, which I was very much a part of, to coming, reaching where I've reached now, and yet practicing, learning, catching my shortfalls. One of the major contributor has been in being in the remembrance of one. Attention, paying attention to what is my life all about? Who am I? This is what we learned in the first day one of the Raj Yoga, didn't we? That who am I actually? I am not born here to prove to anyone or to seek approval or validation from anyone. I am here to live my life. And of course, as we get deeper into knowing our own selves, we get closer or to the purpose of who am I and what my life is all about. Attention. Attention to what? Attention to first withdrawing, getting inward and being with your own self, being safe with your own self. Usually, the kind of social life that we build up and remain busy, a major reason of that is that we don't want to be with ourselves, we can't be with ourselves because there is hollowness in there. So to run away from your own self, you move out, what we call as escapism. Yes, coming back home to your own self, being with your own self, taking up practices that would make sense, that would contribute, add value, first to your own self, and then in turn to others. Because you can only give what you have. We have this wonderful divine platform of our education, of our spiritual education, where we can arrive, we can come back and discover ourselves. Once you withdraw from the outside and go inward and start being comfortable with your own self, suddenly you experience a new world opening up. That world in which you start discovering the real new self. Why am I saying new? Is because probably that is not something that you may have seen before. We say that a lot of answers show up when the mind is stable, when the mind is calm, composed, poised. You are in a state of stability. So actually putting your life on a hold. What happens if there is a medical emergency? You are admitted to a hospital, and no matter how busy you are, at that time, your well being is taken as a priority. You may be lying in the bed in the hospital, and everything will resume once you get back. Why? Because that becomes an emergency. So, here, when you start making yourself an emergency and take on spending time with your own self, actually, earning time with your own self, I would say. Spend is an outflow, isn't it? So I would like to take it the other way, that you're earning some time with your own self, you're cherishing some time with your own self, you're sitting down, you're journaling, you're just sitting in silence, no need to talk with anyone, just being with your own self for a while. I'm not telling to cut off from people, but yeah, just being with your own self, the most important person while you're alive. And that's when you connect to the Supreme. That attention that you give yourself at that point of time, decluttering your mind, taking on journaling, writing down whatever is there. And it's almost like how you empty a big bag that is cluttered with stuff, how we maintain our houses, our homes, and we take off everything. And then one by one, we place them. And we place them in a way that, okay, this is important, this is critical, yeah, this is necessary, and there are certain things you will find which are waste. Giving up the attachment that you have to the waste, because people like hoarding, they like collecting, whether it is materialistic stuff or emotional stuff. They hoard within. So when you declutter, when you take it out and you say, this is no longer serving me, it's time that I get done with it. I need actually get done with it. How much of crockery, how much of clothes do we keep and thinking one day, someday I'm going to use it? And you may have not used it for the longest time. But yes, that point of time, you come down to being to be a minimalist, and you say, okay, this is all that I need. Because anything which is in excess is going to harm. जिसका भी अति होता है उसका अंत होता है. So you are doing away with anything that you don't require, that doesn't serve you, and then categorizing and putting it in a way that it can serve you, serve the community around you, and serve the purpose of your life. That is attention. Moving away, categorizing, compartmentalizing, and then picking up things as per priority. I would invite everyone to take up this exercise for the month of May, including myself. And this is an ongoing practice that we all do. You will see a magical shift in the way you can connect to the Supreme. Because once you go inward, the moment you start being comfortable with your own self, you will see the access, the freeway to connect to the Supreme lies there. So let's take a couple of moments to let this conversation settle down. And then let's be open to some questions if anyone has any questions or any perspectives that they would like to share out of what we have been conversing on in the last few minutes. So let's take a couple of moments. All right. You can unmute yourself. Any questions? Any perspectives?
Om Shanti, Vimish. Bye.
Gee, brother.
It was wonderful, very inspiring. So it's, I mean, really that you said that, it was all started with, the tension, and then gradually it is going to a stress, and then now the new term, like you mentioned, it's depression. So the journey and the purpose of life, everybody is forgetting. Uh, so the quality of life is really going down, like you mentioned. And though we have all the facilities, the science, everything is growing one side, but on the other side, the quality of life is, drastically going down. And like you pointed out, the lifespan is also going down. So uh, attention, definitely playing a key role here, that you rightly mentioned about paying attention to the self. So that is where everything will have to start. So when we pay attention to the self, I think, like you mentioned, yes, that is where we will understand the self. And the more we understand the self, and then better we will be able to channelize ourselves, and manage everything that is happening around us, especially the chaotic situation around us, right? So the key is to have the attention to the self. So very well put. Thank you so much. So Ramesh, I was also have a small question here. It's about the people. Okay, so some people, for them, it might be easy to have this journey, and understand about. The Rajyoga will definitely help us to take this inward journey. And for some people, if you look at, right, they are going through a lot of sufferings. Maybe they do not have enough money to survive, do not have a shelter, or they are suffering. So what would be your perspective? How can they, experience itself? Because for most of them would be, matter of survival or getting enough money for their livelihood, right? So, how do you think this can be benefited in that sort of a people?
Okay. So, Vijit Bhai, my perspective on this would be that, see, when there is a challenging situation, consider there is what you said about that, where the basic means of living is itself a concern. Let me give you an example of a medical emergency showing up somewhere. Say in the family, in the Lokik family, there is a medical emergency. Someone needs medical attention immediately. Will tension and stress at that point of time work? Or will the family people, will they start taking actions that are required, like, okay, call for the ambulance, move them to the hospital, get them admitted, converse with the doctors, find out what is needed to be done, and assuring that the treatment is administered and the health and well-being first they're taking out of the emergency, and then good health or well-being is restored as much as possible. That would be the priority, isn't it? So at that point of time, that is the attention someone would give, because life is at stake. Now, at that point of time, sitting and stressing and worrying is not going to help. Likewise, when there is a challenging situation, you require more of yourself rather than depleting yourself with adding on stress and worry. So orienting those people around, or they orienting themselves that, okay, now there is a situation and this is the time I need to take action. And when there is a challenging situation, actually what is required is the mind to be calm and stable so that it can think about what is to be done, what actions to be taken, what ways they can get out of that situation. What happens, Vijit Bhai, is that this is the upbringing, that like there are certain things that we just pick up as we grow, and we may not have a logical understanding of that. Oh, actually it doesn't help, but that's what it is. That is how we have grown. So getting in this awareness of shifting the approach, moving from stress and worry to just calm down at that moment and think that, okay, what action do I need to take now? I guess that would be one of the approaches that can help someone, no matter what dire situation they may be in. If that answers your question, Vijit Bhai.
Yeah, definitely, Vimish, right? Yeah. So, orienting the self, that is, and that explains very well. Yeah, and also shifting away from the mind. We need to shift, right? So that is where all the problem first takes place. So we need to find a way to shift that. Yes. Thank you.
One of the
Thank you.
other things that has worked now, Vijit Bhai, what I have learned and have been practicing or learning and practicing is to stop giving significance to that situation. What happens is the situation is what it is, but we make it big in our minds. We magnify it and we get, oh my God, this situation has become very big. No, it's like situation is what it is. But the moment you normalize it, that okay, it's happened. Now I need to deal with this. That, for a major part, has been a big catalyst in helping me come out of situations which have been challenging. Yes, who else?
Okay. Can you hear me?
Yes, 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 sister.
Yeah. You're talking about challenging situations,
Yeah,
but sometimes life itself can be challenging in the sense that there's so much of clutter, you don't know where to start. You read all books, you have books on minimalism, you have books on decluttering, having it for years and years.
yeah,
And okay, I say one day I have to do something, take a bag and I go around decluttering. But that lasts only one day. How does one sustain it? I mean, I know all the things that should be doing, but I don't do it.
yeah. So, over a period of years, we have gathered a lot of wisdom when it comes to when it comes to knowing. We have the hacks and we have all the books and everything is available on social media. But yes, at the end of the day, when what matters is taking actions and the consistency with actions that you have. uh, yeah, given that where to start from, it's like when I'm drawing a circle and say, okay, where do I start drawing the circle from? Well, I just start drawing the circle from wherever I start. And consistently, I keep on moving and I complete the circle. So if you're looking at many people, for that matter, wait for the right time and the right day and the right way to start doing things. Whereas there is no right way. The only way is to just start doing it. And Yes, one message that you give your mind very clearly, that I am going to be consistent and not giving up. Until and unless you don't make this commitment to your own self, no matter what knowledge, what help might come your way, it will not help. That's what my perspective is, sister.
Yeah, I realize that it's my perfectionism that actually getting in the way.
Yeah, we just want because we want things in a certain way.
Yeah.
Only, yeah, once everything will, one people will cooperate with me, then I will be able to do this. Once the situations are favoring, then I will do that. No. There are two lines from a poem which I remember. It says, "The cavalry ain't coming, your mama ain't coming." At the end of the day, it is it is your journey, and
Yeah.
you got to do it. No one else. I mean, even if we are sick, people around us will help us. But whatever we need to go through, only we can go through it. No one else can go through for us. So I would say to shut down all the clutter that is going on in the mind and just start doing it and
Right.
be consistent with it.
I know. I have books on consistency too. The whole house is full of books and paper.
I know, I know. The first thing that you do is put the books away. Yeah,
Right. Thank you.
pleasure. Yes, any more reflections? What are the practices that you can see you can take up from now? How is it that you can move from tension to attention? Because the tension is also yours and the attention is also yours. Take your time, think about it. It would be lovely to have you share.
Om Shanti. Am I audible?
Yes, Payalan, you are.
Okay. So we were talking about tension and attention. And like you were sharing, I also was talking to someone 2 days back, a colleague. And so what they mentioned is, while going back, I need to fill fuel in the vehicle so that one
Mm.
more tension, one more tension will be, over. So people have actually replaced the word task with tension. That's what I thought.
Yes.
I felt. I mean, filling fuel in the vehicle is the tension. So
Yeah.
I generally asked, like how much fuel is there right now? Oh yeah, I have enough to go for 1 or 2 days.
Mm.
Like you shared previously. It's like, if I don't have any tension, they feel eh, it's like the mind shouldn't be empty, but like Baba's filled our mind with knowledge and gyan, because they are still to connect with Baba. So like a default mode for them to fill their mind is tension. Every task is a tension. खाना हो गया तो
Yeah.
खाना खा ले तो एक tension. And look at the way Baba teaches us, like what food is, the act of eating, the consciousness while eating. So every task is like tension. they've just replaced it unknowingly, obviously. So what this soul does is, as soon as if you remember, we had this marble and spoon we used to play when we were in school.
Yeah, in the school. Yes.
Yeah, so thinking of that as a game, you know, either soul I'm walking with Baba, and as soon as the marble shakes, like the mind state of the mind. So that's, bell rings saying that, hey, where are you? You know, where
Yes.
should where should you be? Why? And just stop, SOS, just stop and first stabilize and figure out what exactly is happening and then move ahead. Take a few moments, take a break, sit with Baba, read something, or just focus, reflect, talk to Baba, and figure out what is affecting me. Because there's no point if I'm going to try to run with the marble and spoon in that sthiti, obviously the marble will fall down
Yes.
and I'll be left with the spoon. So something around that, not exactly, but more or less, this is what wanted to share. Om Shanti.
Yes, sister. And one of the things that most of the people do is that even with the lemon falling off, they continue with the spoon. They're thinking, at least let me reach to the end, at least with the spoon.
Yeah, but that doesn't score us anything, right? Because,
I know.
yeah, because if we look at the spoon as seva and the marble or the lemon as sthiti, then
Yeah,
Baba tells us clearly, you're not going to score any points.
exactly. And that is
Not going
how
to score any
people,
points.
they are just headless about it, aimless. They're doing things without a purpose. And forget about them. I have been through that. I guess all of us at some point of time have been, who have just done things about things very mechanically and not realizing the purpose why we are doing it. And a very good point that you brought up, which is which I think it's a very valid point, is that how we are languaging. So Bijit bhai, what Payal Bhan shared, no, inside of that, one of the axes would be change the languaging. Like when a task becomes a tension, like what's to be done, it's to be done. How people say, acha, okay, now, okay, lunch, chalo, one task over. Okay, one job is over. So there is so much of stress around that, but you're actually cherishing what needs to be done. And changing the language in which you speak and the language in which you think, both of them takes away a major significance out of what needs to be done, leaving you light and with energy. Actually speaking, uh, our body, people say you need 7, 8 hours of sleep. And tell me one thing, if you require 7 to 8 hours of sleep, at some point of time when you are sitting and you take a power nap, or suddenly you're sitting and you just doze off for 15, 20 minutes, how come you are charged up in a way that you can carry off tasks for the next 7, 8 hours? So actually, body doesn't require that much of rest. It's the mind that gets fatigued. All the stress that is there in the mind, because of that, the body becomes stressed, and then we, we need more sleep, and then also the sleep doesn't fulfill because the mind is stressed. And this is an ongoing thing. It's not like, okay, this is one hack that we have got, let's apply. No, it is ongoing. Thoughts will come. We need to work on ourselves spiritually, getting closer to, or getting to the purpose of what my life is, why am I doing what I'm doing, and whatever we need to do as a duty, we need to do it without the significance of it. So yes, changing the languaging in which you speak and the language in which you think, Both can be a major contributor to move from tension. Thank you, Payal. That was a good point. All right. Okay, it's 5:58. We are closer to time. Rakivan, can we have a short meditation music, please?
Yes.
All right, let's sit upright for a couple of minutes. Let's sit up straight. Relax our shoulders, our neck muscles, all the noises in our head. Let it all calm down. Do away with all the stress that is there on your forehead, on your eyes, and relax each and every muscle of your face, giving it the softness and making it supple like the skin of a child. A pleasant smile of gratitude on your face. Shoulders are absolutely relaxed, and you're breathing in freshness, and you're breathing out all the clutter. Breathing in the coolness of the divinity, and breathing out all the heat and the warmth of toxicity. Get into the angelic state. Cherish yourself. This is a wonderful life. I am safe under the canopy of the divine. I am playful and free like a child who knows my Father is here to take care of me at all times. There is nothing I have to worry about, to stress about. Whatever is showing up in life is a part of my life, and it's only with my attention and me being one with my own self can I categorize, prioritize, and create a worthwhile life out of my own self. There are no complaints that I have. And whatever the challenges are, with the grace of myself and with the confidence of the backup of the divine. I carve out a blissful life for myself. Life is simple, and I shall take on living that life of simplicity. Thank you, Baba, for being with me, for being for me, for the cozy comfort that you give me to live through the last rest of my life in an absolute childlike manner. Om Shanti. Thank you, everyone. It was wonderful. I hope you all enjoyed, and we shall look at connecting again soon. See you tomorrow morning at 5 a.m. Om Shanti.